Things with Billie Eilish and Taylor Swift started off on good terms back in 2019, but since then, fans have begun to suspect, on both sides, that the two no longer get along. Two things before we get started. Number one, I'm not planning to take sides. I'm just going to convey everything that I could find between the two. And then number two, I left out anything that included like performing and having each other clap or sing along because we only have a 10-minute time frame to get this done. Starting off very strong in 2019, both women shout each other out at the Billboard Women in Music.
My exact quote during this speech was, "I really just feel like we need to continue to try to offer something to a younger generation of musicians, because somewhere right now, your future Woman of the Year is probably sitting in a piano lesson or in a girls' choir, and today, right now, we need to take care of her." I've since learned that at that exact moment, an 11-year-old girl in California really was taking piano lessons and really was in a girls' choir. And this year, she has been named Woman of the Year at the age of 17. Her name is Billie.
What Taylor said earlier was beautiful. And I know she already said this. Taylor's speech earlier, she stole half of what I was going to say, which was that in 2014, she won this award, and her speech was, she basically said, right now, I'm going to quote this wrong, but she said basically right now, your future Woman of the Year is somewhere in a piano lesson, in a choir, and we need to take care of her.
Next, in July of 2020, Billie does an interview with Apple Music where she talks about her love for Taylor's song, Picture to Burn.
Picture to Burn, which I don't know, I don't know how this song came about, but I used to love this song when I was 4. No, probably older than that. Probably 6 or something. It's crazy. It's very country. When I listen to it now, I'm like, wow, I totally didn't realize how country this was.
Well, that's her evolution. She was a country artist who crossed over.
I loved this song back then because I thought it was so badass, and I thought it was so cool and mean, and yeah, I just loved it. I didn't know it was Taylor Swift this year.
And then the next year in 2022, Billie does an interview where she talks a little bit about watching Taylor Swift's documentary, Miss Americana.
Watching the Taylor Swift documentary, and she was saying that, when she got these amazing achievements, and then she kind of got to this one place, and she said that she didn't have anyone to high five and be like, we did this. Nobody was there to enjoy it with her, so it felt kind of isolating. It just made me feel so grateful to have my brother.
Later in 2021, Phineas attends Taylor Swift's birthday party. But as we move into 2022, this is when it seems like things maybe take a shift. So starting in January, Damon Albarn from the band Gorillaz makes a comment about Taylor Swift not writing her own music. He basically says that Taylor does not write her own music or co-write her own music, but then goes on to praise Billie and her brother Phineas. He does later recant this and say that it was clickbait, but he said it, so. Later that year, though, Billie headlines Coachella, and she brings Damon Albarn out as a special guest. While praising him on stage, someone is caught backstage on a hot mic saying that Taylor is going to sue them.
Okay, people, really quick.
I've never received confirmation who was caught on the hot mic, although some suspect that it was Phineas, while others suspect it could be Billie's manager. But then moving on into October of 2023, Billie goes on to do an interview where she talks about Taylor and Beyonce being untouchable superstars. She goes on to praise them for their long concerts, but we're going to come back to this a little bit later. And then in February of this year, the two are seen hugging at the Grammys. And in March of this year is really when things start to spiral out of control. Billie does an interview with Billboard where she talks about sustainability. You've probably seen multiple reiterations of this comment before, so you can pause here to read, but essentially she calls out artists for releasing multiple variants of their albums. Obviously, this article draws the attention of a lot of Swifties because Taylor had been gearing up to release the Tortured Poets department, which of course had very many variants. However, Billie is quick to go to Instagram and say that she was not calling anybody out and references that she does the same thing as well. From here, we go into the long month of May 2024, where a series of events happens back to back to back. First, Taylor announces that she's going to be dropping 3 variants of the Tortured Poets department to be released on May 17th. This gets a multitude of reactions on social media because that is the same day that Billie will be dropping her next album, Hit Me Hard and Soft. Shortly after this, Billie's manager is seen liking tweets that imply that Taylor is trying to prevent Billie from getting the top spot. You can pause to read here, however, he does later unlike this, removing it from his profile. Next, in an interview with Apple Music, Billie talks about not wanting people to know who her songs are written about.
The songs to not be like, oh, I know what that's about.
Right.
I think that we live in such a world where like everyone knows everything.
Everything's rap beef.
Everything, right? It's true. Everyone is aware of the beef that happened and aware of the people that don't like each other and aware of this and that. People put songs out, especially in the pop world. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it necessarily, but it's just, we live in a world of like, you put a song, somebody puts a song out and everyone's like, so this is who this is about. And this is the entire story of what happened. And it's like,
fans take that comment to be, again, shade at Taylor Swift because the Tortured Poets department had a big speculation on who the songs were about, whether it be Maddie, Joe, or Travis. Still in May of 2024, Billie does an interview with a radio station where she talks about not wanting to do a 3-hour concert. You can pause here to read her full quote above, but this was very contradictory to what she had said the year prior, which again led many to believe that this was shade. She also goes on the Colbert Show and talks a little bit about young artists needing to have the opportunity to be inspired by other artists. Again, this was speculated to be about Taylor because she's talking about another artist being accused or maybe having the opportunity to copy someone, and we do know that Billie Eilish and Olivia Rodrigo are good friends. And we are still in May. Shortly after that, Taylor Nation tweets out this photo of I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, saying try and come for my job, with many speculating that this was a subtle nod to Billie and all of the comments that she had made over the course of this month. Things appear to get a little stranger when in July, Jack Antonoff does an interview on the Today Show and he makes a reference to the word lunch in a question.
It's hard to write unless you're really compelled. And sometimes what compels you is way more serious things. Like, I never feel like, you don't hear a lot of great songs about like one's lunch order, sorry. So the things that...
And in case that reference is lost on you, Hit Me Hard and Soft did have a track on it called Lunch, so some speculate maybe that was Jack Antonoff kind of adding into the feud. And then finally, in August of this year, Billie gets added as a feature on Charli's song Guess. You can read above the lyrics that some think may be directed at Taylor. Many already believing that Taylor had been feuding with Charli or vice versa, this just added a whole nother layer of bringing Billie onto that track. That's all that I could personally find. I know there's all of these things about Justin Bieber being involved somehow. I couldn't find them. That's not to say they don't exist, just that please don't attack me in the comments. Anyways, in my opinion, I do think there's something going on between the two here, but I do think a lot of it is just fan hype and then, of course, the media.
So before I begin, I really want to say that the media always plays a big role in these celebrities hating each other, in these celebrities just not wanting to see each other and just completely disliking each other, right? But that is where you as a person and you as an adult have to come in. Like at some point you realize that, oh, I messed up. Like, oh, I said something wrong. Oh, what I said definitely sounded like a diss. And sometimes you say things and you don't really mean them to be a diss, but it just comes out that way. It just feels wrong. And that is something that could happen to anybody. Now let's talk about the beef between Tay and Billie. I feel like Taylor hasn't even said anything to her publicly. Taylor hasn't even said anything wrong or anything that could be twisted. But Billie is always saying things like she's always, maybe it's because she's younger. So, we younger heads, we feel like we know everything. We feel like we're that girl, we're that sis, whatever. We just feel like we are that chick and we know everything and we, we're so smart. Maybe that is why Billie just feels like she's just that smart and she's always inserting herself into conversations that make it seem like she's just dissing Tay. Okay, now let's talk about the issue with the variants, for instance, right? You know that a particular artist that has been in the game for over 10 years, what am I even saying? Over 20 years is big on putting out lots of variants, right? Why would you go on an interview talking about that particular topic? You know the fans can twist your words. You know that it's going to seem like a diss. I mean, you could talk about any other thing, but you decided to talk about that particular topic, right? Why would you go on an interview or be on Station Head with your fans? And by the way, she on Station Head is not something that I've seen or heard about a lot. But the one popular time you decided to go on Station Head, you want to talk about, again, something that relates very much or is part of Taylor's branding, which is she performing for 3 hours. In fact, if you include the time her our tour openers perform, it's over 3 hours. It's like 4 hours plus. If you include the time before she comes on stage, before her openers come on stage, it's over 4 hours plus. Like it's over 4 hours, almost close to 5 hours. Like everything is like, the time wasted and people putting things together. It's almost like 4 or 5 hours. So why would you talk about this particular topic knowing fully well that your words can be twisted? And at this particular time, her words were not even twisted. She was taking an obvious jab at Taylor. So I feel like Billie might have just fallen into the fans trap. She might just not like the fans trap. She might have fallen right into just being twisted with the fame and just feeling like, once you're that big as Taylor, or not even Taylor, as Billie, right? People start comparing you with the biggest in the game. People start comparing you with the legends. And at some point it gets into your head and you feel like, yeah, like what has this legend done that I haven't done? Or what has this person done? Or what can this person give that I haven't given? And moving forward to, Taylor putting out a song or doing something around the same time that Billie is going to be putting out her own work, I feel like that is something that you really cannot stop. If you're friends with that person and you don't want that competition, you can easily call them up and say, yo, please, can you please, or whatever, and you guys can just talk it out. But in the streaming world, you don't have any right to get mad that somebody's putting out their work at the time they want to put it out. There could have been some delays, there could be anything. So you getting mad and you coming online to say something, a brother coming online or a manager coming online to throw jabs at Taylor, which is something, of course, Taylor has a brother. She has her own team. You don't see those ones coming online to get angry, get mad. They do have feelings, but they're matured. That is what I feel. That is just what I feel, honestly. They do have feelings. They're humans, but they have grown in the game so much that they realize that all of those things, it doesn't even add to your art. It just distracts people from your art and sees you as a drama queen or as a drama team. So you don't see those ones coming online to say, to reply or to, whatever. You don't see them doing all of those things. So I feel like, one, the media did its thing, but eventually Billie Eilish probably just got jealous, probably just got envious, and she wanted that number one spot. Let's be honest. If Taylor had stopped doing music, or if Taylor ever stops doing music today, I feel like Billie has a really, really big chance of actually getting that Tay spot. Why? She's also an amazing musician. She's also a child star, just like Tay. She was, before she became 18, she started popping before that. So almost, I feel like Tay popped earlier, like 13, 14. But yeah, Billie's around 16, 17 ish, and she probably has been working towards that career, towards her musical career before then. So Billie kind of just feels like, yo, in her head, she's like, yo, what if Tay just retires today? If Tay retires today, definitely Billie is going to be taking that number one spot. And I feel like she's just in a place where she's like, well, retire, sis. You're like, you've done it all. You've gotten all the awards. You're that girl. Like, Billie is not in the mood for that competition anymore. She's, they've loved and appreciated each other on stage, and now she's come to a point where she feels like Tay is too much competition for her. And that is why I feel like she's just getting angry and saying all of these things about vinyls, tours, and saying all of these things about what else? About something else she said I can't remember, but it's just crazy. Y'all can tell me what you think about this video. I just feel like this beef is not gonna stop because, Billie keeps feeling threatened by Tay, and Tay just won't respond. And Tay obviously is not ready to retire anytime soon, because her fan base, well, they're very much in love with her and they very much want more music. So the earlier Billie, sits up and gets ready for that competition, because there's gonna come many more times where Tay is gonna put out music the same time she puts out music. And I don't even know why she's threatened, because she has her own fan base that is that big, that is that good, and that loves her like they love her nuts as well. So if I was her, I wouldn't even feel threatened. But she has to come to terms with the fact that Tay is going to be here for a very, very long time, and it's either she goes and be friends with her, or she just hangs it up and postpones her release if Tay announces hers, or if Tay puts out hers around the same time she's gonna drop. Because I remember also, let me just add this, Adele and Tay was gonna put out songs or a project at the same time, and Tay actually, because of the love or the friendship she had with Adele, moved her release a bit like forward, just so that Adele could shine. That is something that Tay has done so many times. I just feel like it's pride and envy for someone not to just approach her nicely, but go behind her back to say stuff about her. So Tay could easily just, because she has all this money, she has all these fans, they're waiting for her to drop albums that they've heard before. So definitely, if it's a new album and she drops it on their effing birthday, or on effing Christmas, New Year's, Easter, whenever Tay drops, her fans are ready. So she's not even pressed about dropping at a particular time, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I feel like that is just how it's gonna be. Like, these two have to, like, Billie has to, like, just hang it up and just be comfortable in her own shoes, her own skin, and realize that Tay is not gonna go anywhere. So yeah, that's just it. Tell me what you think about this topic in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye, guys.